Live from the FIA Barcelona Gran Via Conference Center in Barcelona, Spain, it's theCUBE at HP Discover Barcelona 2014. Brought to you by headline sponsor HP. Here are your hosts, John Furrier and Dave Vellante.
Okay, welcome back everyone. We are here live in Barcelona for HP 2014. This is SiliconANGLE and Wikibon's theCUBE, our flagship program, where we go out to the events and extract the signal noise. I'm John Furrier, with my co-host Dave Vellante. Our next guest, Steve Dietch, is the VP of HP Cloud, go-to-market, CUBE alumni, and I just posted on the crowd chat feed his throwback video from 2012, HP Discover, one of our first earlier days. Welcome back.
Thank you, good to be back.
I think you were also on our original non-live CUBE in Barcelona when you had that announcement in the hotel. Remember? I think you were on that one too.
That's correct,
That was our first
What
Barcelona.
year was that?
That was 2011, I believe.
Jeez, God. That's
was 10?
That's a long time ago.
2011.
That's a long time ago.
Anyway, and welcome back.
Thank you.
So, you've been doing cloud before cloud was cloud at HP, the cloud system matrix, cloud system, still around. Converge now a big part of it. You've been in the center of the kitchen, if you will, in all the other cooks at HP, server, networking, storage, convergence, and now cloud. What's the update? What's the go-to-market look like? What's your take? Share with us your wisdom.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting, and if I reflect back probably what I said, if I remember what I said back 2 years ago, we had just announced our strategy. So we announced our strategy, I think, on April 10th, 2012, and it's still consistent today. We may have been a little in front of everybody, but we said the world was going to go hybrid, so you would have on-premise offerings and on-premise offerings, public, private, managed, and things would still stay on the traditional IT side as well, and we said the world would be open. And that is actually becoming more true every day.
Yeah,
what you're seeing is,
we were there, you said that.
You're seeing the acceleration now, and just over the last 6 or 9 months, a massive acceleration of enterprise and mid-market companies basically embracing that more than ever.
Well, you also said choice, too. That was another big part of it. It's still around today. The word choice isn't thrown around as much this show as it is, but agile, flexible.
Yeah.
How has choice changed? I mean, storage has their own architecture, you know?
Well, it goes back to the open aspect of it, and our focus on providing customers with maximum flexibility, as you said, choice. And it actually goes to the execution of our strategy. We've made a big focus investment, call it strategic bet on OpenStack, for instance. You know, if you look back now on the surveys we've done over the last 6 or 9 months, and we do this all the time, and we have a pretty good representation of worldwide opinions given our footprint. Vendor lock-in continues to be one of the biggest concerns of people moving to the cloud.
What's the data tell you?
Data tells me actually recently 72% of CIOs think vendor lock-in is the most important thing that they have to worry about, and an inhibitor to moving to the cloud. It's a big chunk, actually above security now. So back to your point of choice and flexibility and consistency, that one, not locking somebody in. If you're a CIO, the last thing you want to do is be locked in from an application and from a data perspective. So back once again, hybrid, open, choice, flexibility.
Multi-vendor, all the talking points. We used to be like, yeah, it's language of love in the tech business, right? Customers want to hear that.
It's not, we're not blowing smoke anymore. This is actually real, and CIOs are voting with their wallet now.
But there is a segment of customers that will trade the risk of lock-in to get functionality.
Yes.
You agree? So the question becomes, how do you close that gap, or when do you close that gap, or have you closed that gap?
Yeah.
In other words, if you can be open and functional, you win every time.
Yeah. So interesting. I think there will be, and the way we positioned it before, there will be, you always want to look at what you're doing from an IT perspective now based on a service or an application. And you're going to take your portfolio of services as any IT manager, CIO, and you're going to deploy it to the right platform. To your point, based on service level agreements. Some applications will have an affinity for private cloud and some will public. But to your point, a lot of people will want to trade off what we said, control versus convenience. Now, what we believe will happen and why we're focusing so much on OpenStack is, if we can drive OpenStack, mature it, make it enterprise ready, you're going to get the best of both worlds. You're going to get enterprise capabilities with the openness that you may find, you find the enterprise capabilities you would with more proprietary closed environment.
How does, or does Open change your go-to-market?
How does it change the go-to-market? You know, I think there is more of a collaborative nature in go-to-market. In proprietary, closed, whatever you want to call it, what we're trying to do right now is stimulate and create the world's largest open ecosystem. So that involves service providers, ISVs, channel partners, value-added resellers, distributors, and it'll sound corny, this may sound corny, but create a movement of that openness where it feeds upon itself and you get the benefit of the innovation of the ecosystem and then moves it forward. So you're working with a lot more, a broader spectrum of partners to try and lift everybody's boat.
Well, you're going to have to do that in a way that's going to be uncomfortable for Meg Whitman, who's very controlled in messaging. You're going to have to get out there and be open and be out in the social channels organically. So is that something that you think you can pull off? I mean...
Well, you know, open. I truly believe in our strategy, and I think the success of the cloud will be based on it. I don't think the cloud and will be successful, let alone any of the open source alternatives, unless you create an ecosystem around it. If you look back on IT success, there usually is an ecosystem created around something that's actually been successful.
Well, here's what our observation is. So just real time kind of riffing here. We see obviously HP owns open source mindset. That's clear. From a code standpoint, open source is you guys get it. I have no issue with that. I give them an A on that. Good grades on that. On the ecosystem development, we actually got to do like the social media stuff. One of the HP executives on theCUBE said, people are talking to their peers first before they talk to the customers or their vendor. So the new normal is out in the ecosystem. They're talking to each other already. So with social media and whatnot. So I just haven't seen the HP go-to-market moves yet on the digital side. Is there a social media strategy? Is the website going to be changing?
Well, I'll give you multiple things from digital to actual physical.
Yeah.
So you've got a big SOMI activity, a lot of social media, a lot of website activity. We've got a full-time cloud CMO that reports right to Henry Gomez, the CMO of the company. That's how important.
Bobby Patrick.
Yes,
he's awesome.
So pushing really, really hard on making sure that our exposure and visibility and awareness is getting out there, not only from HP's perspective, but pushing the message. Once again, I think as HP push out the message of hybrid and open, that will float everybody's boat. Not only us, but in many cases our competitors, which actually will be good for everybody at the end of the day. But when you actually look at it from, I'll use the word physical in the wrong way, what we're doing, for example, around the Helium network, which is creating an actual ecosystem that we talked about of those application developers, value-added resellers, service providers that are all coming together based on a common belief system. And that's really what you create with social media and communication, a common belief system around open and hybrid that's ultimately going to deliver an effective way for customers to consume cloud services.
So talk more about that channel dynamic, because yes, you can create this movement and you can be the leader of that movement, or the lightning rod, if you will, to organize that movement. But at the same time, within that ecosystem, there's all kinds of conflicting agendas and competition. What's happening? What's the dynamic in the channel look like? Many channel providers 5 years ago were totally freaked out about the cloud. They're starting to adapt. I wonder if you can give us an update on the channel.
Yeah. So if you look at the different aspects, let's look at the value-added resellers, the channel, the folks that have enormous relationships with the vast majority of customers. If you remember, and this probably will translate from the traditional IT world cloud, 70% of HP's revenue goes through the channel. So if you think about the channel today, they're going through their own transformation. They're moving from a world where they were essentially reselling hardware and installation services and value add to having to deliver hybrid solutions. Their traditional business, moving to deploying, selling, delivering private cloud, and then also working as an agent on behalf of their customers to actually enable the hybrid environment, including aggregating, brokering, external services. All that needs to be wrapped with a different mindset, a different model. So they're moving from, they're changing business models from a very CapEx heavy to pay-as-you-go, OpEx oriented, consultative selling. It's a very, very big move. A lot of them, it's a challenge. Some of them may not make it. they'll be happy to stay where they are, and that will be a challenge for them just in that particular area. But we truly believe that in order for cloud to reach its maximum potential and penetration, the channel needs to move with that new style of IT mentality. If you look on the flip side from a service provider perspective, and I don't think I'm speaking out of line, a lot of service providers are struggling to make money on the cloud. As they struggle with their traditional business, they're trying to figure out what workloads, what applications actually will drive material revenue beyond infrastructure as a service. Most of them do not want to chase Amazon, Google, and Microsoft to the bottom. That's not a game that you're going to win.
Amazon's moving way too fast, and they want to try to move faster themselves. So, in a way, if you're a telco or a service provider, you need to be faster.
You need to be faster, nimble, flexible, an innovative portfolio of applications that, whether it's vertical or horizontal, is going to actually generate substantive margins.
Yeah, find ways to differentiate from those other guys.
And that is really, really hard. I just spent the last 2 days with our charter members in the Hewlett network. We have 12 stellar members, such as AT&T, BT, Synopsys, Intel, that are working with us to build this ecosystem, and it's a universal challenge for everybody. Yeah. But they have a vision of where we want to go.
You guys, this is your bread and butter community, right?
Yep.
You have it on both sides. You have go-to-market community and you have developer community.
Exactly.
So you got to have a core competence in that.
We got to. Our job is to bring that all together and accelerate it.
So that's just not Bobby Patrick, the CMO's job. That's also your job, right?
That's right.
So who else is involved in this? Do you got to have a Caritza going on within HP?
I can tell you that from an HP perspective, this starts with Meg. Meg, as you probably heard in folks that hear the show, cloud is the single biggest incremental R&D investment that HP is making this year. And that includes not only the product side of it, but it also complementing the R&D, but it's on the go-to-market side. We've made enormous investments to spin up a dedicated sales and marketing organization around the world.
Meg is awesome. I got to say, I would comment her yesterday. Yeah. She's got to come on theCUBE. First of all, Meg, if you're watching, you got to come on theCUBE. I'm sure she's watching this right now. Back at her hotel room. Hey, Meg. Innovation, message loud and clear. Just, the drumbeat. You can just pounds the innovation all through her speeches and all her messaging. And also customer first message, I love that, and also partners. So really 3 things. She keeps banging the same drum. Boom, boom, boom. Innovation, customers, partners.
Yeah.
So, and R&D weaves under innovation, but that's good. So who else is involved in this community on your team?
It involves the whole it involves all of HP. So if you think about why, and I'll give you a little inside information, why Meg is so excited about the cloud. The first thing is that, it's sort of going to be a big thing. It's going to be, everybody. It's the new style of IT.
Yeah,
it's with mobility and big data. It's going to sort of be a big thing. But the other thing is basically a change engine to transform HP. So we're driving as a spear there to create a more efficient way to deliver solutions as opposed to a traditional siloed effect at HP. So we're working not only with our own cloud organization, Martin leading the cloud BU. Has he been on theCUBE yet?
Yeah.
Martin Mikos?
No, he's doing it on tomorrow.
Oh, he's going to be on tomorrow.
Yeah, he's on OpenStack SV, he's on.
Yeah.
He'll come on tomorrow.
So Martin driving the cloud organization from a product and go-to-market perspective, but then the cloud organization driving servers, storage, networking, software, and services as an integrated solution. No more can we all go out ad hoc to customers, but a unified approach across helping somebody build something, but also consume services.
So who do you report to, Martin?
I report to Carrie Bailey. So Carrie runs global sales and field marketing.
CUBE alum.
CUBE alum, formerly from Verizon, Terramark.
Yep.
So Carrie, and then Martin up to Meg. And then we're working with all of our brethren across not only our internal organizations across HP, including enterprise services, but then all the partner ecosystem. So I have in my organization, I have not only the sales strategy, the sales operations, but I have responsibility for our entire channel, as well as the service providers in the Hewlett network.
And then to define cloud, so we got infrastructure as a service, and the cloud, where the infrastructure platform and software as a service. What comprises cloud in HP?
So in a very simplified way, you can look at it from, our job is to enable customers to build and consume cloud services, hybrid. Martin, I think, showed it on stage today when he was up with Meg. There's private, there's managed private, there's virtual private, and then there's public. We're helping clients build on-prem and then we're helping them consume off-prem. So you look across that spectrum.
Now I think of that as infrastructure, right? Is that fair?
Well, there's an infrastructure foundation
Yep.
based on what we're doing from an OpenStack perspective and infrastructure and the services associated with that. But then above that, there is how are we enabling the developer community? You heard folks today talk about developer first, having platform as a service. We have a developer platform. And then above that, we're not, we don't have a wide array of software as a service offerings. We do out of our software organizations, Vertica and Autonomy, but that's where our ISV community and our service provider community come to bear on building on top of those building blocks that Martin talked about today.
But I mean, it's fair to say the major emphasis right now is on that infrastructure component. Is that not fair?
I'd say it's infrastructure, consumable infrastructure. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. So, but from a revenue standpoint, we should expect that much of the business is going to come from that infrastructure.
Sure.
Right?
HP, as we've said before, is always going to be an infrastructure company, and we're going to earn our stripes in different ways. It's both helping customers deploy flexible infrastructure on-premise in a private cloud, utilizing HP software, which helps with automation and orchestration and security, and then helping service providers and our own enterprise services organization deliver application services based on that flexible infrastructure.
So, you talked before about how some of the service providers don't want to go head on with the race to zero. So, nor do you, right? But to compete, you got to have either volume, massive volume. Google's got enough volume to compete with Amazon, or you got to have differentiable advantage. That differentiable advantage, if I'm inferring correctly, is that spectrum of cloud services that you're providing. The options, on-prem, off-prem, hybrid,
Correct.
Managed.
Correct.
Right? And you can get a premium for that because Amazon's not going to want to do that. Google's not going to be hands-on.
No, if you look at, and you're seeing certain ecosystems form around this, but you're right. As we go out, and our focus is really laser on enterprise, and the enterprise customers want the choice and the flexibility that was mentioned before. They want, where do I deploy them in the right way, matching the right application to the right destination, private, managed, public. If you look at the Amazons or the Googles, they have a public cloud presence, which serves a great purpose. Hats off to them. I mean, a lot of respect. But they don't have the on-prem aspects as well. And there is no CIO on the planet.
Well, they got eucalyptus. Oh, never mind.
So I want to talk about that comment you make is about Meg Whitman liking the cloud so much. You mentioned because she's taken it as an opportunity to transform the company. Pat Gelsinger said on theCUBE, another well-respected executive, said, never waste a good crisis to create change. Meaning, something goes wrong, he looks at it as an opportunity. So that's essentially what you're saying. Meg's saying, hey, this is a major shift that we need to be in this business, as you pointed out years ago with cloud being open, perfectly aligned for HP. Yeah, it's kind of not happening fast enough. Well, let's move and let's throw everything up in the air.
Big cattle. I mean,
that's what's happening.
That is what's happening. I mean, she, hats off to her and the rest of the leadership team. Realized early that this was going to be a big thing. It was going to not only be a material revenue generator for HP today and in the future. We have a multi-billion-dollar cloud business. But it's going to be a catalyst for change as well, of just the way people want to work. Yeah. This is IT in the future, it's not cloud.
Yeah, but here's the thing that we're looking at. I don't want to name names, but we're looking at the players and the management team saying, who's got the juice to move the ball down the field? Because you got one move, you're making this move, tip of the spear, people got to perform. Because they're on the big stage, so yourself, Martin, everyone's under the lights. It's big showtime.
It's showtime.
It's showtime.
And it was funny if
we're going to look at performance and see who's delivering the goods.
Exactly, and Kerry was on stage today and made a really good comment. He said, you know what? All the easy stuff in cloud has been done. Now where it becomes hard. Now it's where this stuff becomes really, really impactful. Enterprise adoption is still very, very low. Yeah. And there's a reason behind that. because this stuff it's difficult.
It's hard, and
hard to do.
and there's risks.
Yeah.
It's hard to do, and there's risks, obviously, with privacy and security,
Yeah.
as we're finding out.
So from an HP perspective, we've got to make it easier. We've got to de-risk the thing, and we've got to give people choice and flexibility to be able to do what they do based on an application, not based on some infrastructure.
So we're getting the hook here. First of all, it's always great to have you on. Great to see you again. It's been a couple of years. You're great on theCUBE, great content. Share with the folks out there, summarize what's going on this year at HP Discover in Europe. Obviously you mentioned some highlights around the Meg and all those opportunities, but for the cloud group, what's the watershed moment? What's going on? Is it an inflection point? Is it a shift? Or in your own words, what's going on this year at this moment for you guys?
So, I mean, in essence, it's all about execution. So we've got a strategy that hasn't changed in 2.5 years. As I mentioned before, hybrid, open, execute against that. We've got a great portfolio that we continue to mature, all fundamentally underpinned in a common architecture, OpenStack. And then we've got an accelerating go-to-market based on building an industry-leading ecosystem. It is all about, are we going to make this happen? And I can tell you that it's going to happen.
It's committed.
We are committed, and it's committed from the board and Meg down.
Yeah, and everyone's on the big stage, lights are on, curtain is up, showtime.
Hopefully we're all singing from the same. We're all
game time.
Yeah, it's game time. We're all saying the same thing.
Yeah, game time, and we have it all covering here at the anchor desk on game day here in Barcelona. It's theCUBE. We'll be right back after this short break. Thanks for watching.